never know how to start these videos, or I guess any video. When I don't show my face, I actually spend a lot of time thinking about what that first phrase I'm going to open with is, and sometimes it comes to me, sometimes it doesn't. But with this one, I really was having a hard time thinking of how to say hi. This is the intro. It's nice to see you. Oh, I guess I could have done that. See, the thing is that feels so awkward to me, and I don't know how it reads. Like, is it weird me saying hello? My name is Laura. It's nice to see you. I'm the creator here at Myrtle and Robin. Every single video. I don't know. So we're just going to go with a babbling sort of strategy today. I think that's kind of how I feel. I just feel like babbling and chatting a little bit and procrastinating too, actually, because I don't really want to get started on what I need to do today. If you see me looking around, it's because it's a mess in here. And that's what we need to do today, is we need to reset and refresh the office because it got out of control. But before we get into that, I just wanted to kind of give you an overview of what we're doing today, or for over the next couple days, actually, for me, today for you. And that is, I wanted to take you guys along with me on a bit of a January reset and refresh. I know that sounds very basic, but I am not ashamed of being a part of that trend for this one. I think I really need it this year, and the time is right. So last year was so much fun. It was so wonderful. I got to marry my best friend. I went on my honeymoon, but there was also a lot of chaos and things to deal with in the middle of all of that. There were, sickness. I ended up in the ER a couple times. Nothing too crazy, but I did have a really massive asthma attack that took a lot of work to recover from. And I'm still on my recovery journey from that. And I also had some injuries. Again, nothing too major, but enough to really shift my life, because last year I really worked on being more active. I was running, I was in karate, I was really working on my mental health. I did a lot of really intensive therapy last year too, and therapy classes. So, a lot of progress. But then on our honeymoon, I fell off a bike and didn't realize I had crushed part of my knee, and I hiked up a cliff, right afterwards. And then I hiked the next day. We were in Alaska, so like, how am I not going to be hiking, right? It was so gorgeous. But I didn't know that I had injured my knee, hiked for a few days on it, and then the swelling started. And that put me out of commission for a lot of things for around 2 months, and I'm still recovering from it. So that injury happened in September. It's January, and I'm still not 100%. I'm still not back to running or pretty much any of my other physical activities, because it's not there yet. And I still need more time. And then in the middle of it, I also broke a toe. Such a stupid injury. I tripped going up the stairs. But it has been a massive shift in my life over these last 3 weeks. So, like, you don't think about it. It's my big toe that's broken, by the way, on my right foot. You don't think about, or at least, even though I'm a biologist, I never really thought about how important my big toe is to everything, but it's important to everything. And even though it's the smallest, tiniest fracture, it has changed everything. I know I keep saying everything, but it's the reality, right? Like, I can't be on my feet for longer than maybe 10 minutes at a time. Sitting upright like this, even, I have to put time limits on unless I'm going to elevate my foot, because it starts to get swollen and painful. I can't really like do any cooking that's large scale unless there's a lot of times for me to sit and wait. So the holidays have actually been great because other people are cooking for me, and that's great because I don't have to worry about feeding us. Cleaning has been really difficult. I couldn't start using my sewing machine until a few days ago, actually, because the treadle alone, I guess I use my big toe a lot for control on my treadle, and that's been a no-go. It hurt too much. I haven't tried spinning on my spinning wheel yet. I think that might be a little bit better because I use my left foot too, so that could help. But then outside of crafting, I can't drive because it's my right foot. So I have to be chauffeured everywhere like a kid. And it was nice for a couple days. Now it's awful. It's awful, one, because I don't have the freedom to do what I would like to do while I have 2 weeks off for the holiday shutdown anyways. I get, from Christmas to New Year's off from my job. So I haven't been able to utilize it how I want to. And then it also just sucks because, my husband is pulling so much more extra weight and I see it and I can't really do much. So it's been a shift, but it's also been a good reminder to slow down. Last year was a lot of fun, but a lot of transition, and some difficulties too. And there's potential for much more change this year in some of our life stuff. So I think even though it is kind of basic to be like, oh, January, restart, refresh, new year, new me, all that stuff, it's actually a good time for me for this new sit down, get stuff figured out ahead of time, and refresh with a new mindset of being mindful of what I'm able to do and not pushing my limits too far. I think it's a good timing for it. So that's what this video is going to be. We're going to start with cleaning up this office little by little. I don't need to tape my toe anymore, and I don't need the boot. So today seems to be like a good day to actually be on my feet a little bit and try to clean up the horror that this room has become in the past few weeks. Get ready for work on Monday. And then we'll get into some planning for the year and how I'm going to go about that. And also, planning, which is going to be like a couple different things. It's not just like what my planner looks like, but how I'm going to try to work a little bit harder on meal prep for the year, as well as some physical activity planning. Because I am going to start physical therapy soon and I am terrified. But I know I'm going to need to be organized for that too, because it's going to take up a lot of my extra time. And not just the appointments, but making sure that I'm making the progress I need to so that I can get back to where I was and getting ready for this year, because partially, my husband and I are going to Japan in September, and I want to be able to hike and walk around and climb up the steps of some of those shrines. And where I'm at currently, I'm not going to be able to do that for 2 weeks straight, because we're going for 2 weeks. And it's really important for me that I am, where I can be to do that, because I want to be up those, in those shrines and temples. I want to experience it, and I don't want to be lagging behind because I have a lingering injury. So, lots on my mind for getting ready for the year and planning. So why don't we just go ahead and get started here with getting ready for all of that and starting fresh this year. So I'm going to take you guys along with me, and I guess you get to watch me hobble around my room a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm doing my best. I'm doing a lot better. I am almost barely hobbling, and that's progress. So, I'm proud. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started. I'll check in with you guys soon. You're a tech thing. You're a fabric that needs to go in the fabric thing. That's something else. Okie dokie. This is a quilting kit that I got in Canada. I just really loved all of the geometric shapes, and it was such a good price when I was there too. Let's see here. It was 145 Canadian, which I think for me was maybe like 110, 120 US. It might have been less, but it was like a really, really affordable. I got that in Vancouver. And then in the same shop, I got this too, because I just really love the artwork. And this is by an artist who is Indigenous. He just does some really, really amazing work. So I was really happy to get a panel from him. I just really love his style. And I mean, blueberries. That's just so freaking pretty. And then when I was back home here, I found this fabric that I thought would coordinate really well. I still don't know what this quilt is going to look like, but I thought this would look really good, and I didn't know how long we were going to have it, so I got a couple years of that for the future. This is for a quilt I am currently working on. Okay, and then these are charm packs that I still haven't worked with yet. But I love this assortment too. I made a 4x4 square that I thought was really pretty. Like these patterns. Oh my gosh, like look at that. It's just so stunning. I had to have it. Who knew I was gonna end up being a quilter? Like, look at that! All those colors. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so that will be at some point. Don't know when, but someday. Alrighty, so I am now ready to work on my planning for my new planner for the year. I mentioned before that I am primarily a bullet journaler, or I was, but it's just really not fitting with my busy lifestyle at the moment. I just don't have the capacity to make those fun, beautiful spreads to the standards that I like, as well as work on all my art stuff, as well as do my regular 9-to-5, as well as take care of house stuff. So it started turning into a bit of a chore, and then I stopped doing it, and things got really disorganized and chaotic, and I need to bring a little bit of organization back. So I'm trying out a happy planner because the spreads are mostly pre-made for you. So in this case, it's a vertical layout. That's how I tend to plan anyways. So we're going to try this out. But while I was looking at the planners, I noticed that they also have a hole punch. I'm not usually someone that advocates for single use or single purpose items, especially since this is like a proprietary happy planner hole punch thing. But in my case, I thought it might actually make this planner more sustainable for me, so that I can make some templates of layouts now while I have time, and I can put those in so I don't have to keep buying templates that may or may not fit me all the way, just because I know that won't be sustainable. But so it's also not sustainable for me to make whole new ones every single month or every single week. So at least if this is a template that I like, I can just print my own pages, set up the month, and we're good to go. So I went ahead and I created some of my own pages to try out. I didn't print a whole bunch because we don't know if they're gonna work yet, but I just created some basic planning pages off of Canva. That's what I use, and I don't have the premium. I just use the basic free plan, which is why all my graphics are really simple. But this is going to be my page that I'm going to use for just basics for planning. In general, we like to take turns on who's picking our main big cooking meal of the week. I try to do like one big cooking meal of the week and then one easy meal of the week, so I'm not cooking a massive amount constantly. So we like to go back and forth and take turns who picks and what that big meal is going to be. And then we always ask this question before we pick: what are you craving? And that helps us plan everything else around it. So made a quick worksheet for myself on this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and any notes. I think I'll put like some snack notes and stuff there. And this one has already been cut down and hole punched. To help planning, I wanted to get a little bit better about organizing around what we already have and what we need to eat. Sometimes things get so busy that takeout ends up being our go-to, and I kind of want to cut down on that a little bit. So I want to do an inventory when I'm able to each week of what meals do we already have in the freezer that need to be eaten, what meat do we already have in the freezer that needs to be eaten, any leftover meals in the fridge, any leftover ingredients that need to be used. So this to help us plan there. And then these are kind of going to be the sheets that I don't print each week. These are going to be interesting. I have a duplicate. I don't want that one. I want a fruit one. Okay, well, we'll print those later. Anyways, so these are going to be in the front of the planner for me to just help me give some basic guidelines as to how to plan meals, because I want to be more mindful. So this is mostly based off of the My Plate from the USDA, but I am not a nutritionist, so don't take what I'm doing as nutrition guidelines, but this is how I find it a little bit more successful for me to plan more meals with more fruits and vegetables. If I have this sort of framework where I'm reminding myself that I should have kind of equal amounts of different things, we should focus more on plants. I put a fat section on here because I like to remember all of my macronutrients. And I find if I don't think about fat when I'm planning a meal, then either I can overindulge or underdo the amount of fat that I should have in a meal. I also don't have dairy as a separate category here because I tend to think of dairy more as a fat source and a protein source. So this is my framework for what helps me plan meals. Again, this is not the official governmental guideline, and I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not giving advice. This is just the graphic that I've created to help remind myself how to build meals, not just pick something, but how to build a meal. And then beyond that, I have some cheat sheet information for myself about how to think of different amounts of grains and proteins to get the amounts that I should be getting. And then I have a cheat sheet for vegetables to help me pick vegetables for a meal. And I have some guidelines for myself to try to pick 2 different categories of veggies whenever I can for, especially the big dinners. So try to pick at least 1 red and orange and 1 dark leafy green, stuff like that, so I'm getting the right diversity in. And then beyond that, I had one for fruits as well, but I forgot to print it. So this is kind of how I'm going to start here, and then I'm going to just cut things down. After things cut and punched, then I have some planning that I need to do for my exercises for physical therapy that I'm going to put into my journal as a reference for the next 2 weeks, because otherwise I'm going to forget how to do the things that I'm supposed to be doing for my homework. So I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting and get things put together. While I was working on this video, I think I forgot something. I forgot the whole point of what I was trying to create. My goal for starting this year off cleaning and organizing and setting up planning strategies was to not fall into old perfectionism habits, to not focus on productivity and efficiency in my own personal life. But I'd be lying to you if I said that I didn't start backsliding a little bit as I was putting these things together. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't start thinking about how things could be so much better if I could just get things in my life together just perfect. But that's not what I am trying to do. The point of what I'm trying to do is to set up what I need now so that I can have the power to carve out the time that I need to live more slowly, to live more intentionally. There are so many things going on in this world that I can't control. There's so many things in my life that I can't make slow down, but I can slow myself down. And that's why I am working on getting a little bit more organized so that things aren't just happening to me, but that I can find time to take care of myself. Because I've set things up that way. I've set things up to be flexible and to make sure that I'm cutting out time to take care of myself. Because self-care is something I want to start building into my day. And that's something I want to talk about, is self-care. Because I think some of us have an idea that self-care has to be an expensive, beautiful spa day or an absolutely fabulous night out or splurging on a really nice dinner. But it can be other things. It can be finding time to do the things that you love or doing things with the people that you love. It can look like finding the time to make the appointments that you've been putting off making. Or it can be scheduling time out of your week so that you can prep food that you like to eat, enjoy to eat, and feels good to eat. It can also be working on your recovery journey, whatever that looks like for you. Even when you're tired, even when things are overwhelming and you wish you could just be better already, but you can't. But also, something that I tend to forget a lot is that a big part of self-care is compassion. It's extending compassion towards yourself. Life is hard. Things are dynamic. Everything is changing. Everything is different one day to the next. And we are only human. I know that sounds really cliche, but it's very true. We are only human, and we all deserve a little bit of compassion. And we deserve to be able to give that compassion to ourselves. So I think overall my main takeaway here is that my goal for the year, I don't want you to misconstrue what this video is about. My goal for the year isn't to be more productive, more efficient, or to have the perfect planning strategies. But my goal for the year is to stop gatekeeping self-care for myself, extend more compassion towards myself, and to do what I need to do in order to make that part of my daily life. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I hope that you enjoyed this video. It was really good to start the year with you all, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!